I think I've built up a good enough rapport in this YouTube business that y'all understand that I appreciate you very much. I do. You are the reason why I have a career sitting in my bedroom talking about hockey every single day. It's a lovely job. I love doing this. It satisfies my craving to talk about the sport, and I get to play video games. It's awesome. So believe me when I say that this video is not coming from a place of malice. I'm not going out there and trying to dunk on anybody. I'm trying to get this out there because it's funny. Let's go out there and laugh together. So the reason we're talking about this is because earlier this week on the Canadian subreddit, there was a post made by Sharks9 talking about where the Habs will be 5 years from now. They posted a thread from the Canadian sub in 2018, and it was very funny to go out there and look at what Habs fans had to say about their prospects, about their team, half a decade ago. And you can understand where this train of thought kind of led me down. Hey, let's think about prospects the Canadians had in that time frame. Let's talk about guys that were supposed to be really good, but did not become good. What happened to these guys? How were we wrong in our assessments? And with this idea in mind, I ended up stumbling upon a video that I posted onto YouTube 4 years ago. Take a look at this, July 10th, 2019. What is the ceiling of Ryan Poehling? Montreal Canadiens prospect discussion, you get the idea. And this video had nearly 8,000 views, it had over 100 comments, and what I thought would be interesting to do was go over how a lot of us seem to have had the wrong idea about this guy. So, let's talk today about Ryan Poehling, a former Montreal Canadiens prospect who is now a Philadelphia Flyers forward, where he was, what he was supposed to be, how he's turned out since then, and where he is today. Poehling is 24 years old, 6'2", 196, a left-handed center, drafted by the Habs in the 25th overall spot in 2017. He was a former top-round pick, and at one point he was seen as one of the more, let's just say, important players in the Habs prospect pool. Back when he was drafted, he was playing in the NCAA for St. Cloud State University, had 13 points in 35 games played, and was under a point per game for the USA World Under-18s team. Here's the scouting reports on elite prospects back from 2017. Ryan Poehling makes up for foot speed with great hockey sense and his strong worth ethic. Yeah, it says worth ethic and not work ethic, so elite prospects, you might have to go out there and change that. He controls the puck well, future consideration says. HockeyProspect.com said this, Ryan Poehling plays a sound game positionally, coming back into his own end, and has a knack for creating turnovers on the back check. As his career went on with the St. Cloud State University NCAA team, Ryan Poehling really solidified himself as a two-way specialist. He had back-to-back 31-point years in 36 games played, which is very odd when you think about it, how he actually managed to get the exact same point production. And in 2018-19, you started to see him do things at the World Juniors. He was one of the top scorers for Team USA in that 2019 tournament. So as a result, you could see that a lot of Canadiens fans were getting super hyped up for this guy. Poehling was a two-way beast that had really good defensive responsibility and who could produce points as well. Not to mention the fact that in the one game that he played at the end of the 18-19 season with the Montreal Canadiens, he scored a hat trick and the shootout winner against the Maple Leafs. Talk about a storybook ending to what was an incredible season for Ryan Poehling. This guy came onto the NHL scene bursting the door down. 3 goals, shootout winner. At one point, Ryan Poehling was the highest goals and points per game player in NHL history. And you can totally understand why there was hype for this player. Give it a few weeks after the regular season in 18-19 concluded, we made this video on the channel. What is his ceiling? And what I wanted to do was go over to some of the comments posted by you and just kind of get an idea as to where we thought this guy would eventually go. This video had 7,000 views, and some of the top comments say this. Have you seen him in the Montreal development camp? The dude has a lot of elite talent. He's going to surprise a lot of people. Frodo Baggins says this, I think he has the same kind of ceiling as Ryan O'Reilly. His style of play looks like it was made for the playoffs. I want to remind everyone that Ryan Poehling won the World Juniors MVP on a losing team. Whatever the scouts of that game saw in him, stats aside, he won. This is what Hockeytown says. I can't say he'll be a number 1C or even a grade 2C, but this guy will definitely play 500 NHL games and be noticeable in the majority of them. That's a great pick at 25 every time. Here's another comment. Luke Brown says this: I see Ryan O'Reilly being somewhere between a Brandon Dubinsky in his prime and Ryan O'Reilly, a high top 6 center who is defensively skilled with decent offensive upside. I watched him play in college and he is great at leading rushes up ice, a great passer, and a good shutdown guy. Dylan goes out there and says, I think realistically, Ryan Poehling is a 50 to 60 point player. His ceiling is Ryan O'Reilly. Everybody in this comment section is saying Ryan O'Reilly. But as his career went on, you did not see anything of a Ryan O'Reilly type mold. The next season with the Habs, Ryan Poehling had 2 points in 27 games. And that's a terrible point production number. Now, you can't go out there and discredit he had concussion issues that he was battling, and towards some parts of those games, he actually looked pretty okay. But long story short, the point production was just not there. He got sent down to Laval as a result, and he had spent the entire 2020-2021 season in the AHL. Now, to his credit, he was a point-per-game player with the Rocket in 21, but he did not have NHL success afterwards. In 21-22, he was a 17-point in 57 game guy with the Montreal Canadiens, middle to bottom 6 pairing kind of guy, and he really didn't establish himself as that two-way beast that a lot of Habs fans hoped he would become. Nothing of the sort of realm of Ryan O'Reilly or Brandon Dubinsky, maybe even a middle-tier Brandon Dubinsky. He wasn't there, and he wasn't good. Eventually, he got sent over to the Pittsburgh Penguins in the Jeff Petrie trade, wherein the Canadiens grabbed Michael Matheson as a result, and this previous season he had 14 points in 53 games played. Now, a lot of Penguins fans are not going to go out there and say that Poehling was a bad player. I don't think anybody is really going to say that he was terrible, but the fact is he just wasn't as good as we thought he was going to be. Not anywhere near. And for a lot of Canadiens fans that were super high up on this guy saying, yeah, two-way responsibility, two-way beast, Ryan O'Reilly, I think this is just a good wake-up call that a lot of these prospects the Habs have usually don't work out. And this, of course, is all coming from that Reddit thread that we had talked about at the beginning of this video, but this article or this thread talks about guys like Poehling and Kotkaniemi and Cam Hillis and Jesse Alonen and Victor Mete and Noah Juleson, and all these guys are either in purgatory with the Habs like Alonen or just not with the Habs at all like everybody else. The Habs prospects back in this time frame did not really amount to much, and as unfortunate as it is, that's just the truth that we have to live with here. Now, for Ryan Poehling, he did find himself a contract with the Philadelphia Flyers, so he'll be going over there for 22-23. He signed a one-year, $1.4 million contract. Or did I say 22-23? 23-24, excuse me. So we'll see on a rebuilding team if Ryan Poehling is really able to hone those skills that he had earlier in his career and bring them out to a much greater capacity. I have no doubt that he is a pretty okay two-way player, and he has some good skills to keep him in the NHL. Maybe he does play 500 NHL games, like one of the commenters said on one of my old videos. But is this guy going to be, even at the very least, a second-line center? Who really knows? Maybe a rebuilding Flyers team is what it takes to get him up to that point, but for now, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Ryan Poehling and the way he has gone since then? How we were all sort of wrong about this guy, at least 4 years out, and where do you think he's going next? He's 24 years old, so there definitely still is time for Poehling to become an effective NHL player in a middle to top 6 capacity, but it's not really looking like that's all too likely. We'll see if it happens, but for now, let's just see where he goes with Philadelphia. Of course, though, if any other Philadelphia Flyers fans want to come in here and join the conversation, then hey, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the way this guy has developed? How do you feel about the way this player was being treated by fans? How we talked about this guy? And seeing everything that went since then, how do you feel about him being on your team now for a one-year, $1.4 million contract? Do you like the signing? Do you not like it? What kind of opportunities do you think he's going to get with your team? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.